my Gateway Minds. Welcome back to my channel where I will talk more about the mind-body connection. Today, I am super stoked. I am going to talk about the heart. The heart is such a mystery. So many people think it's just a blood pump. So before we start, I took some notes for just a really great video because the heart has so many mysteries. I want to answer throughout this video, how does my heart affect me besides pumping blood, besides keeping my blood pressure up? Why does it matter how I feel? That's actually what this video is going to be focused on. Why does it matter how you feel? The heart is basically a collection of memories from your entire life, whether you remember these memories or not. The heart actually sends more messages to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. The heart has its own brain. It has its own little nervous system, so to say. The heart actually sends out electrical charges. So you literally are sending out electrical charges all around you. They have done studies and they can basically put on a monitor on your heart or your chest area, and they can ask you to feel a certain way. So in some of these studies, they would have the study participants think about something that was really frustrating, really made them upset. And when that happened on the heart monitor, it would show incoherent, or the little squiggly lines up and down, showing that that was very disorganized. And the opposite happened if they had the participants to think of something very joyful, exciting, the line would kind of look real steady or coherent. Why does that matter? Your heart has its own brain, as I said, and nervous system. So if you're having disorganized messages or an electrical charge you're sending out, such as frustration, anger, even holding resentment, these are all emotions that are stored within the heart. And when that happens, the heart sends those messages to the brain, and not just the brain, your higher faculties, guys, that the part of the brain that you need to figure out something. You've got to figure out what to do with your life. You've got to figure out what to do with your relationships, your job, all of those very intense questions that we often dwell on. We have problems getting the answers if we are in a state of what they call incoherence. And that's based on how we feel. And that is generated from our heart. They have measured with these heart monitors that, and this is just measuring, they can do so much more. They just don't have the equipment to see the most distance that the heart can actually be measured. They think it's miles, but they have measured up to 6 feet away. That is your electrical charge. And your electrical charge can be measured around your entire body system based on how you're feeling. Ever walk into a room and it feels really, really tense? That's the electrical charge that is generated in that room from those people. And that electrical charge is coming from the heart. Ever walk into a shopping center and you hear that, and it's got good music and there's a good vibe and it makes you shop? All of that's actually through studies, because it's changing your heart coherence. It's starting to make you feel joyful, to have a feeling of elation. And when you change the way you feel, it actually sends a message to your brain to open up and release. And that's why often you'll see people that have problems with shopping as an addiction, because that feeling of elation actually will open up those centers in the brain where you just feel free. And that's where you want to spend money, or you want to buy a lot of something. I found this very fascinating, that the heart actually produces a hormone called atrial peptide for my science geeks out there. And actually, what that does is it reduces our cortisol, or our stress hormone. Did you know in 1993, the heart was actually reclassified, and it is actually part of the hormonal system because it actually helps release this hormone that slows the release of cortisol. And cortisol is that stress hormone. If you start to get upset or angry with someone, your body's releasing that cortisol. And we've all heard about cortisol, and the cortisol, that's another video in itself. But cortisol can have lots of negative health effects. It actually can cause water retention, belly fat, of course, those disorganized thoughts from the feeling from the lack of heart coherence. So not only can your heart affect you electrically, it has its own memory bank. And I really wanted to talk to you about this. There have been several studies on the heart from heart transplants and recipients. And they had taken and had several of these recipients that received a heart as a donor heart. And the recipient began to develop the same likes or dislikes habits of the heart donor. And when they would start to go back and interview the families of the heart donor, they would find out that those people had a passion for something, had a like for a certain food or a dislike for a certain food. They would gain weight or lose weight based on what the donor. There was even a very fascinating story with a heart recipient, was a little girl that received another little girl's heart and kept having nightmares. I mean, horrible nightmares. So her parents took her to a psychiatrist, and they did some research and found out that the donor had been murdered. And so what they did, since the little girl kept having the same dream, she was being chased, she could vividly recall a face, and she was able to give the description of that killer to the police, and they were actually able to incriminate or actually convict the murderer based on this little girl's testimony and / scientific studies that the heart holds all the memories of a person. I wanted to just iterate how important your heart is as far as electrically in memory. So I want you to think about this in general. The next time you're feeling frustrated about something, it's literally shutting off your brain. And so though it's hard, if you can kind of recharge, and even if it's let go and do something you enjoy or think about something else for a short amount of time, that will open back up those channels to help you kind of get through things. So guys, hope this video helped. If you liked, give it a thumbs up, subscribe below, and I'll see you back in the next video.